Hi people, it's Leona. 2019. Another year that went by entirely too fast. I experienced a lot of new things this year, and I'm very fortunate that about 75% of the things that I experienced was good. So I wanted to come in and do a little recap of 2009, just have a little Cliff Notes version of the year for myself, and also to have like a one-on-one conversation with you, so to speak, one-on-one, because it's been a minute since I had a chance to just talk to you guys. Let's start with the topic that came up the most in the comment section of the videos that I posted this year: my weight loss. Yes, I've lost weight. I cannot tell you exactly how much weight I've lost because I really did not weigh myself when I made the decision to lose weight back in May 2018. I can say I was likely over 200 pounds, but to just give you a frame of reference, before I was like a size 14, 16, and now I'm a size 10. Now, I made the decision to lose weight because I was very, very uncomfortable in my own skin. I avoided mirrors like the plague, and I was also experiencing some health problems. I was experiencing some chest pains. I was also pre-diabetic. So there were a number of reasons why I wanted to lose weight. And when I made the decision to lose weight, I knew that it had to be a lifestyle change. I couldn't do any diets like the Whole30 diet that had an end date, because I know myself. I know if something has an end date, I'm just going to go right back to my old habits. And I really didn't want to do that because I knew I was unhealthy, and I just wanted to try to give myself the best chance to stay as healthy for as long as possible. I started my weight loss journey by transitioning into the keto diet. I could not start cold turkey on any diet because I knew that was not going to mean success for me. I was going to have to wean myself off the way I typically eat and just incorporate the keto diet, slowly until I got used to it. Then once I got used to the keto diet, after a few weeks, I transitioned into a low carb diet. And I can't believe how fast the weight started coming off without doing a lick of exercise. I'm telling you, when people say that weight loss is 80%, diet and 20% exercise, it's the truth. I have not exercised really since May 2018. Nowadays, I'm much more relaxed with what I eat. However, my eating habits have definitely changed. For example, I stop eating when I'm full. And I don't really eat unless I'm hungry. So those are two big changes that occurred with me, like changing my lifestyle, because before I would eat and eat and eat and eat. I never really experienced hunger. And I didn't realize I didn't experience hunger until I changed the way I ate and started getting hungry and started getting hangry because the feeling of hunger sucked. I am much happier and a lot more comfortable in my own skin. I'm no longer afraid of mirrors, and my health has improved significantly. I am no longer pre-diabetic. And me being a lot more comfortable in my own skin has resulted in me dating a lot more, which goes on to the next subject for my 2019 recap. I have gone on a lot of dates this year. More dates than I've ever been on before. Now, my mindset for dating now is very different from what it was in my 20s. Now I go into dating just seeing it as a chance to meet new people. So from there, I see where it goes. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, then you know what? I met somebody new. I have a much more positive mindset when it comes to dating. In my July vlog, you saw that I went on a lot of dates that month. None of those dates really resulted in anything. But this year I did fall in love And I'm just gonna enjoy it for as long as it lasts, however long that could be. I don't know. This is not me just being like nonchalant about it or whatever. It's just that, you know, you never know what the future holds. So I try not to think about the future that much, and I'm really just trying to be in the present for as much as I can, which isn't very, very easy. It's hard. So yes, I have fallen in love. It's been a minute since I've had this feeling. A minute meaning years. It's been a long time. And just seeing where it goes and enjoying it for however long I can. And now on to travel. Now this year I didn't get to travel as much as I did back in 2018, but I still got to travel a lot, which I am always grateful for. I took one domestic trip to New Orleans and 4 international trips. I went to the Bahamas, I did a 2-in-1 trip to the UK and France, the Czech Republic, and lastly, I went to Germany this year. The Bahamas trip. One good part of that trip is that I got to spend time with family. I also got to celebrate my mother's 70th birthday, which was very nice. The one area that I got to see in the Bahamas was very, very touristy. So I do hope that I have a chance to go back and really explore the area more. And I didn't get a chance to do that on this trip because it was a cruise. I think we all know how I feel about cruises. So I'll spare you that right now. But because it was a cruise, I can't say I 100% enjoyed that trip. After the Bahamas, I took my 2-in-1 trip to the UK and France. Now, my first 24 hours in the UK was great because I got to spend it with my cousin, which was a complete surprise. So that was really nice. And we basically hit the ground running. Well, after I checked into the hotel and showered and put a face on and everything. From there, we hit the ground running, doing as much as we could before my cousin had to leave the next day. And it was really, really fun getting to explore London through a first timer's eyes. I had a great time in that first 24 hours. And after my cousin Sandra left, I went to a couple of musicals. I did a couple of walking tours. I went on a couple of dates with a very, very handsome British gentleman. And I spent way too much money and time in Primark. As usual. I always enjoy my time in the UK, and I hope I get to go back again soon. After the UK, I spent a couple of days in Paris, and I can't say that that trip to Paris was my favorite, mostly because the weather was really, really crappy when I was there, but I did enjoy the walking tour that I took of Montmartre. I still can't say it correctly. And it was in Montmartre where I learned about the famous international star Dalida and rubbed on the breastises of her statue to help, give me some luck and love. Now that I think about it, maybe the rubbing of the breastises worked. Wow, just realizing that. A month after coming back from Paris, I went to New Orleans with my other cousin and her friend. And our main purpose for going to New Orleans was for the food. To stuff ourselves with cuisine that was chocked full of butter and other goodness. We had fried alligator, oysters, chicken and biscuits, po' boys, beignets, drinks on top of drinks on top of drinks. Okay, we ate. And we ate very, very well. We also got to experience great live music and amazing hospitality. I am always going to recommend a trip to New Orleans. And then after New Orleans, I did not go on another trip for 126 days. I felt like I was losing my mind. And this is mainly because, my trip experiences in 2018 completely spoiled me. I was going somewhere like every other month, and that's what I wanted to do this year as well, but I couldn't. And so I was like going crazy for those 126 days. But in August, my cousin Sandra presented me with the idea of taking a trip back to Europe, and I was beyond excited. My cousin was trying to decide between two cities, Copenhagen or Prague. I personally wanted to go to Copenhagen because after doing a little research, I saw that there was a lot more to do in Copenhagen than in Prague. But then my cousin decided to take a little poll on her Instagram, and the majority voted for Prague, and that's how we ended up going to the Czech Republic. Prague is a beautiful city. The food was good, the nightlife is bananas, and it wasn't very expensive to be there. However, if you're looking for a lot of things to do on vacation, I can't say Prague is the best city for that. But other than that, we did have a good time while we were there. And the last trip I got to go on in 2019 was to Germany, and this was another trip with my cousin Sandra. Germany was a country I thought I'd be visiting in the beginning of the year when I was in the UK in Paris. However, that didn't happen, because you didn't get no video, no vlog of it. And I'll be explaining in my upcoming Germany vlog why that trip didn't happen, so you can just stay tuned for that. So I don't want to give too much away about anything that happened in Germany, but I had a great time, and I'm very fortunate that I got to go to Europe one last time before the end of the year. And lastly, 2019 was the year I became a first-time home owner. Now buckle in, people, because this is going to be a really long story. At the beginning of 2018, I had to move in with family, but once I moved in with family, I started the search for my next apartment like immediately. However, when I started that search, I saw that studio apartments, in the neighborhoods that I was willing to live in, was going for like $1,500. I had been like paying rent or living on my own for about 10 years, and the rents weren't that high, especially for a studio apartment. And I was coming from a studio apartment that I was in for 4 years, and the rent was $1,200, and it was a rent stabilized building. So I'm going from, a very spacious studio apartment paying $1,200 a month to now looking at studio apartments that are so much smaller, barely have full kitchens. I quickly realized that it was going to be way cheaper for me to pay a mortgage and a maintenance fee. And that's how I came to the decision that in 2019, I was going to be a homeowner. Now, at the time I made this decision back in 2018, I did have, a significant amount of money saved. However, this being New York, I realized that I was going to have to save more money. So I spent a year with family, saving money as much as I could, while also traveling every other month. And in around March, April 2019, I started my hunt for my apartment that I was going to buy. Now, I thought that I was going to be able to get a 1-bedroom apartment, but as I started looking and seeing how much everything was costing and how much I had saved, I realized that the reality is I would probably only be able to purchase a studio apartment. Wasn't ideal, but you know what? I still was going to own something in New York, so it's fine. It's only me. Do I really need more space? Not really. So after a few weeks of searching online, the websites like Zillow and Street Easy and Realtor.com, something like that, I started looking at apartments, and there was one studio apartment in like a dream neighborhood for me that was available and semi in my price range. So I went to the open house, I saw it, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. It's not ideal, but this is it. So I put in an offer that was apparently a very low ball offer, because I was not ever going to be putting in any offers for the asking price. And if you are in the market to purchase a home, do not put in an offer for the purchasing price. Go a little lower. It's a negotiation. But apparently my offer was such a low ball that the selling agent, didn't even take it to the owner. She was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. I wasn't willing to put in a higher offer for that apartment because, like I said, it was not ideal. When I say the kitchen sink was so small that you could barely fit one plate in it, it wasn't ideal. But the neighborhood was everything, and that's why I did put in an offer for it. So anyway, I did not get that apartment. So I started the search again, and while I knew studio apartments were the only apartments I could afford, I still indulged a little bit and would just look at 1-bedroom apartment listings on these websites just to see what was out there. And then I came across the apartment that I currently live in. This apartment was perfect. It wasn't too big, it wasn't too small. Nothing in the apartment needed to be renovated. It was in a great location. The apartment was everything, including way out of my budget. So I just saved that little apartment and would look at it sometimes after having to look through the studio apartments I could afford and not be in love with them. So I just wanted to go back to the apartment that I was in love with. And then cut to a couple of weeks after I found that apartment or saw the listing for that apartment, I saw that the price dropped $20,000. This was my chance, people. This was my chance to swoop in and try to get this apartment. So I looked up when the open house was going to be, the next open house was going to be. I came the day of the open house. I made sure to come very early. And because I was very early, I decided to take a walk around the neighborhood. And I was just like, okay, this neighborhood is too perfect. It's just too perfect. It's in walking distance of public transportation. There's a few restaurants that I could just walk to. My bank is nearby. Everything is in walking distance. And the homes around the area are just gorgeous. It's a beautiful neighborhood. So I was just, from there, I'm like, so I fell in love with the pictures. I'm completely in love with the neighborhood. I have to get this apartment. I just have to. Before going into the open house, I said a prayer. I just had to say a prayer and be like, if it is meant for me to live in this apartment, please make
it happen. Please.
I just really needed to be in this apartment. So after I said my prayer, I walked into the apartment building to go to this open house. And it turns out I was the first person to attend the open house that day. Now, walking into the apartment, I realized that the pictures on the website were doctored to make the apartment look a lot bigger than what it actually was. And it just all became clear why the price dropped $20,000, because for the size of the apartment, the price they were selling for it was overpriced. It's way overpriced. But nevertheless, it was still, in a way, the apartment is still true to what was shown in the pictures. Still a completely renovated kitchen, a completely renovated bathroom. The apartment was in amazing condition. And though I was taken aback at first at the size, it was a 1-bedroom apartment. So the size was bigger than any studio apartment that I was looking at anyway. And I have different rooms to go in. So small, but fine. But what really made me make the decision to get this place was the bathroom. I went into the bathroom, and in my head, I instantly just was like, okay, this apartment is mine. The apartment is mine. So I went back and forth with the seller on the price. Because like I said, don't put in no offer for the prices that they list. And we finally came to an agreement. Paperwork started, And 3 or 4 months after that, I finally got my interview with the board, because this is a co-op apartment. This isn't a condo, and since it's a co-op apartment, you have to be interviewed by the board, and they're the ones that have to approve you to move in here. And I got approved, as you saw in my July vlog, and right after my trip to Prague, I closed on the apartment and I moved in mid-September. So yes, 2019, the year became a first-time homeowner, and I think that was the best part of 2019 for me, to have my own space again. Very grateful. And that concludes my recap of 2019, my year of new experiences. Now, in this video, I did talk about most of the good things that, happened this year, but I do not want any of you to get it twisted. Some not so good things happened this year too. Some heartbreaking, disappointing, scary things happened as well. And I don't ever want to give the impression that everything is like happy-go-lucky and hunky-dory in my life. I don't think that's the case for anybody. I just choose to share the better moments, as I'm sure most people do. And I also think that it's important to have, some bit of privacy. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Don't think that 2019 wasn't lacking of any bad things. I have no idea what 2020 has in store for me, but I hope that it's filled with new experiences that I can share with all of you. And I hope that that next year, or this year when this video is going to be posted, is filled with new, great, and exciting experiences for all of you as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.